Hello, I'm Nate the Effing Great, and what did I just watch? What is going on? Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and for those of you that live in Wisconsin, it is winter once again because we got hit with another major snowstorm. Yeah, about 6 inches estimated, probably more at this point. It's going to be quite a very interesting weekend, to say the least. It's a very interesting way to start the weekend. Many of the schools have been closed, delays, whatnot. A lot of people are probably going to be staying in, although there might be some crazy people that are going to go out to Walmart just to get one simple thing. More than likely ice melt. Anyway, so again, we are back with What Did I Just Watch, the only review show where I talk about movies new and old, as well as TV series, give my thoughts on them, and, you know, let the comments just ensue, because let's face it, I know everybody has a difference of opinion. So, talking about actually 5 different movies, and how I'm actually going to do this is that I'm going to always do the least likely as well as least watchable movie, I would say, and then go on to the higher up, and then go on to the most watched movie that I got the chance to see this past week. Again, 5 different movies, you guys, so I'm going to try to make this as much as I can. I'll try to do like 5 minutes on each movie, and try to give you guys a brief glimpse of what you can expect, as well as my thoughts and concerns, or as well as my opinions about the movie. So let's just get right into it, guys. Starting off with When the Bow Breaks. When I saw the trailers for this movie, it seemed pretty practical. You know, a couple tries to find a surrogate because they can't, have children of their own. So they find this young woman who seems like she is just healthy, and she is right in the head, and her fiance and them seem to be happy. Little do they know that is not at all the case. In fact, the fiance abuses her, has a major assault record. They decide to let the surrogate stay into their house, and she ends up falling in love with the husband, who will not cheat on her with, from his wife. It's a major mess of a movie. I really wanted to give this movie a chance, but I just lost interest in it about maybe halfway through. I know the wife, main female lead, Regina, I believe was her name. She plays Brandy on Scary movie series as Brandy, and she does an amazing job at that. But I think with this one, it just felt like, I just don't know. It just didn't really work out too well. It just, I don't know, the plot line had some holes in it. The parts I thought were going to be good turned out to be, It just felt very weird, to say the least. I think there were even parts where I was even uncomfortable with some of the situations where it's like, okay, she's pregnant with this guy's child, and she's basically flirting with him by making these almost like webcam videos to send to his workplace. He is dealing with a psychopath. She's obsessive. She almost threatens to kill herself as well as the baby. It's just a cluster of a mess. I just had such a hard time getting into it. Like I said, I had such a hard time, and I wouldn't say enjoying it, just really, being a fan of it. It just did not do anything for me. So, on a scale from 1 star being the worst to 5 stars being the best, I will give it a 2.5. It's just, it's sort of watchable, but just not as well done as I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Okay, so we move on to Stalker Surrogate to Smut. Yes, I am referring to 50 Shades Darker. Now, in all fairness, this movie did leaps and bounds above the first movie, 50 Shades of Grey. And a lot of people have been criticizing it. I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it about a 10%, which I know for me was the limits that I would actually see a movie. Well, usually about like 25%. If it's lower than that, I usually wouldn't go see it, but it's one of those things where it's like, well, I've already seen the first one, I might as well see the second one. And I had very little ambition of seeing this movie. It was just kind of like, oh, well, it's out, it's in theaters, let's just go see it. Went and saw it, and in all honesty, I was surprisingly very drawn to it. Not because of the sex scenes. Yes, I know I'm a guy, and a lot of people say, well, you're probably lying. Actually, no. The sex scenes were only just part of it. If you took the entire sex out of this movie, it actually was a pretty damn good movie. I thought the plot was actually pretty good. The character development got better. We got some more, I guess, edgier, darker sides of the movie, which I didn't think they would actually go to. I thought that the chemistry between Anastasia and Christian was better. I think the actors deal Dakota Johnson, and I thought his name was like Jamie something. It felt like it was a lot better than what it was before, and really, it boils down to, weirdly enough, like 3 different things that I got out of this movie that I seem to really enjoy about it. The first being that in the first movie they focused a lot on Anastasia. In this one they focused more on Christian Grey, and they focused more on what his background was like, what he had to go through as a child, why he had this bubble that nobody really could invade, why. If you notice in the first movie, he really did not like having his chest touched, and Anastasia kind of really wanted to know why was that, and she wanted him to be more open with him. So she's trying to, she wants him to be more open to her. There we go. That's what I mean to say. It was, all honesty, just very well thought out. The second part of it was a lot of the lines in here were actually pretty good, to say the least. The main line that really kind of stood out to me was with Anastasia when she talks to Christian about opening up to her. She basically says that she knows that it's very hard for him to open up to her, but it means the world to him. And it's relatable. It really is. And that's kind of another thing that, minor side note to this, it felt like a little bit of a relatable movie. Now, granted, not everybody is, doing bondage and having sex 24/7, but some of the themes in the movie were actually pretty good. It actually felt like a soap opera for a lot of different variations. And, of course, hanging around with my mother a lot, I was watching Young and the Restless quite a bit. That was kind of our bonding experience. And I really got a chance to see what the hullabaloo was about for a lot of these soap operas, and I was very fascinated on how well the storytelling was, how well the acting was, and it was just really well done. And that's kind of what I see in this 50 Shades of Darker movie, was that they knew a way to continue to have the plot being interesting. They found ways to make the character development that much more amazing, and it drives the final point of just some of the lessons that are even learned in this. I mean, the main one being that if you truly love someone, you're willing to give up, things that you hold dearly. For Christian Grey, it's some of his vices. He's willing to give up those vices just to be with Anastasia, just to show that he cares more about Anastasia than anything. I thought that was actually very well done. You definitely could tell that throughout the movie. It's just really good. I am very surprised that people really didn't focus so much on the plot. They were more focused on the fact that, it's a sex-related movie. Sex is the narrative. Sex, 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 smut, 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 bondage, bondage, spanking, sexual abuse, blah, 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 blah. It's a 50 Shades of Grey. It's erotica. There's going to be sex. Just deal with it. See, like I said, if you take the sex out of the movie, the plot is what really gets interesting. And spoiler alert, at the end, where we see the Grey household, we see fireworks just blooming because Anastasia and Christian are going to be getting married. Off in the distance, we see a man, very rugged, very scruffy looking, and he holds a picture of the Grey household. He takes a cigarette in his mouth, and he burns the head of Christian Grey. And right off the bat, I thought to myself, that's got to be Christian's real father, because apparently Christian Grey was actually under foster care and was taken away from, his biological father. And unfortunately, his mother died of a young age. I mean, the storyline here is just really good. Definitely worth watching at least once. I know that's asking for a lot. But they do a great job of, pulling out all the stuff that was in the first movie. They really just brought in some new material for the second movie. And then they just brought in a lot of good cliffhangers going into the final chapter, I believe, of this. Hopefully, it's going to be just a trilogy. 50 Shades Freed. That is what's really going to be very, very interesting, is that they really showed a preview of that. That's going to be coming out next year. So hopefully after this, the whole 50 Shades deal is done. I am hoping to God that is what's going to happen. But one other thing before we move on is that I also really appreciate the fact that it seemed like they did this kind of psychological deal that I would see on a Criminal Minds series, or CSI, or NCIS, or any kind of like police-related deal where one of Christian Grey's exes comes in. It seems like she's about to kill Anastasia, but Christian Grey basically tells her, get on your knees. Just really kind of get like psychologically within her. And see, that's the thing, is that you need to have that person think that, things are going to be all right, because you have to keep them calm. You have to keep them collective. If you do that, then you're going to have a chance of, not only defending yourself, but also, they're going to lower their guard. It's going to be a lot easier. That's what the police usually do. They find a way to, just tell them, it's not your fault, to kind of, keep them calm. And they'll lower their defenses. They'll probably drop their weapons, and next thing you know, they'll be able to make the arrest. So that was kind of really cool that I thought happened in 50 Shades Darker. It definitely is a bit darker than the first one, no pun intended, but it's for the right reasons. So in that retrospective, I give that a 3.5 stars out of 5. It was average, but it was a little bit above average. It definitely succeeds the first movie by leaps and bounds. Alright, I'm sure people are sick and tired of me talking about that, so let's move on to the movie that started it all, started controversy, started madness, The Purge. When I first watched this movie, I knew that it was going to be basically about a family who's surviving this purge night where crime and murder is legal and everybody can do whatever they want. So I already knew right off the bat that this was going to only be about one family and it's just going to be more focused on them. Little did I know how well that they did this. This was definitely the best way to start off a movie because, dear Lord, they just right out of the gates, just, seeing all the things that were going